Welcome to In the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network. In the Huddle is brought to you by Mole Lake Casino Lodge and Conference Center. Now, here's Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman B.J. Raji.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to Tanner's and Kimberly. The Green Bay Packers with a 30-23 win over the Carolina Panthers. And we bring in my co-host, B.J. Raji. B.J., how you doing?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Not bad. Nice win yesterday. It was one of those that they kind of jump out, take a 13-0 lead, and I think everybody watching back home is kind of wondering what's going on. But you guys fought your way back in and made some big stops when you needed to.
Definitely. We definitely didn't get up to the start that we had in mind. But, I mean, that's the NFL. Sometimes things don't go your way necessarily. We need to get some things cleared up on defense, but the fact of the matter is we found some way to win. That's what good teams do.
All right, we'll talk more about the game and some of those options as well, but we'll start with the news of the day, and it's bad news. Nick Collins out for the year as a result of the neck injury that he sustained in yesterday's win at Carolina. Collins stayed overnight at a Charlotte hospital, returned to Green Bay this afternoon, and then told the team in the team meeting this afternoon. First of all, your thoughts on his loss, and I bet there was probably a few tears shed in that locker room today.
Definitely. You can really, it was so much silence that went over the whole meeting room. Nick is obviously a huge part of our defense. He's one of the better safeties in this league. And for us to lose him, like the way we did, is just definitely unfortunate on our standpoint. But I think that, we'll bounce back and hopefully Nick can be of great assistance to the younger safeties.
Yeah, so many of these players, when this type of things happen, they get carted off. They kind of give the thumbs up sign or wave or kind of give an indication that everything is all right. And so many times it is all right. And so it's really shocking to come to work today and to hear the bad news.
Right. When we landed last night, we all got word that Nick would obviously be staying overnight, but that all his tests were negative. And that's why today was such a big shock to us, because we knew we probably would miss a few weeks just because of, pain or restriction, emotion, but we thought he would get back. But obviously, that's not the case.
He had been to back Pro Bowls, and I think the thing about Nick Collins that I remember most when he first came to the team is when they handed him number 36. And of course, that was Leroy Butler's number. And some people question why he got 36, and Ted Thompson said, he said, I wouldn't just hand 36 to anybody. I think this is a guy that before it's all said and done is going to prove that he's worthy of wearing that number. And he's, 6 years in the league, he's had a pretty good career.
He definitely has. He's had a few interceptions, so I think that's what he's known for. But if you watch the games and you watch the tape carefully, he's definitely a physical player. He'll come up. He makes great open field tackles, and he definitely helps Dom out as far as coverages because he's able to do a little bit more.
22 interceptions, including playoffs, in his career. I think he's returned 5 of them for touchdowns. And there was an interesting statistic because sometimes, you make the catch, then you have to turn into an offensive player.
Right.
And he definitely turns into an offensive player. He's one of the leaders in interception return yardage after he picks off the pass.
Right. That's one of the great things about our secondary is that, obviously the notion is, if you're a secondary or D-back that you really don't have any hands, that's why you're not playing offense. That's not the case at all. Mm-hmm. I think the mentality is number one that separates, a defensive back from a receiver, just the willingness to come up and stick your head in there, stick your face in there, and hit people. And the fact that Nick can intercept the ball and, like you said, return it for touchdowns and get ample yardage, I think that is a plus and something he adds to our defense. That's why we're successful.
You've been around the game for a long time. Things like this, unfortunately, do happen, but how do you get over the hangover of it?
You know what? All we can really do is pull together as a defensive unit. And like I said earlier, we have some things we have to iron out. But, it's just kind of gratifying to know that we're winning and, causing havoc and not really playing our best football. We obviously have to get over the Nick Collins situation, but I know Nick, and he's a great guy and a great teammate, so he'll definitely be more hands-on as far as a coaching standpoint. Obviously, he can't participate in any games.
Right. Well, Morgan Burnett went down last year, and Charlie Pepper came in and filled in for him. He filled in for Nick on Sunday when Nick went down, and he most likely will get the assignment to fill in for him again. And at least you've got a guy coming in that's been through the war, so to speak. I mean, he was with you. He was the starting safety on the Super Bowl team a year ago. he has some reps and has some opportunities in this defense.
Yes, sir. Charlie is definitely a guy that we can count on. We know that he's not Nick Collins, and he knows that. But he's definitely a great contributor to this defense. He understands his role. He understands what we're trying to get accomplished on each play, and he studies a lot of film, and I think that's what helps him kind of make up for the ground.
Well, I got to tell you, and you indicated that this very same thing last Monday night when we met. But if anybody thought that Cam Newton wasn't the real deal, they found out yesterday that he pretty much was.
Right. Cam is just, he's as good as advertised. The thing that separates him is his ability to stay poised in the pocket, because the tendency is you got a young quarterback back there. I'm calling the plays. You want to blitz him and you want to kind of get him flustered. But Cam does a good job as far as just reading what he sees, and he obviously has the athletic ability that if something is there he's not comfortable with, he will more than likely pull it down and run, and he gave us some fits with that. But I think that he has a bright future, and the Carolina Panthers had a good pick there.
All right, I got to ask you this because it was asked of me several times today. It's the coin toss. Packers win the toss, defer to the second half. The team that loses the coin flip, they either have to take the football or they'll lose it twice because you have the selection then for the second half as well, so they have to take the ball. So you start in defense. Mike McCarthy did that 3 or 4 times last year, if I recall, and they all worked. Defense went out and slammed the door right off the bat. And I suspect his thinking, his rationale there is psychologically to try to get the defense pumped up, get a stop, get you guys going in that particular direction. I'm thinking along those lines as well. He's never come out and actually said his reasoning behind that, but I think that he wants the defense to get out there, get a 3 and out quick. And that way the offense can get rolling and hopefully put points up immediately following that. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to say, you messed up, when it doesn't happen, when the other team scores a touchdown. That's going to happen once in a while. But are you surprised that he does that, though? In college football, it's one thing. In the NFL, when you've got Aaron Rodgers and all those receivers and Finley at tight end and all those weapons on offense that you give the ball away?
With our defense, the last 2 weeks we haven't really played up to our potential. But I think that coming out of halftime is a big deal as well. And like yesterday, our offense came out of halftime and we were able to do some things. I think sometimes it's good to switch it up. But obviously, when you have a quarterback like Aaron, most teams would receive the ball. All
right, we'll continue talking about yesterday's win over the Carolina Panthers, and we'll welcome our guest when we come back. In the Huddle is brought to you by Mole Lake Casino. Back with more from Tanner's after this on the Woodward Radio Network.
Back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman B.J. Raji.
And we are back here. In the Huddle continues along with nose tackle B.J. Raji, my co-host. We're brought to you each and every Monday night by Mole Lake and Casino. More great games and casino action. Mole Lake offers first-class accommodations in their 75-room resort hotel, including family suites and whirlpool suites, along with a fitness center, swimming pool, and full-service conference center. Packers 30, Panthers 23. Tonight's guest is in his second NFL season out of the University of Buffalo. He led the NFL with 315 rushing yards in the 2010 postseason playoffs. He wears number 44 for the Green Bay Packers. Running back James Starks. Thanks for coming out, James.
Thanks for having me.
And have you there you go.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, the 315-yard total, third most ever by a rookie running back in postseason play. That's a pretty good accomplishment. There's a lot of years of playoff football being played there.
Yeah, it's a blessing. Hats off goes to the offensive line. It's a total team effort. Receivers did a great job, making the opportunity for me to do that. So that's all,
And because of some hamstring problems, it took you a little while to get going. Week 13 is when you made your debut, and that was against the 49ers. How many yards did you have that day?
I don't remember.
You don't even remember?
Nah.
73 yards and 18 carries. I remember. I wrote it down. So, instant hit with the fans. Really, they loved you from the get-go. They couldn't wait to see it. What was going to be in store for the next week, and it was kind of just a snowball effect, and got you going. And yet, because you hadn't played in such a long time, did you feel like you still had to knock the rust off?
Yeah, I was very rusty. I didn't feel like myself at all. Just hitting the holes, getting back to contact, and just reading the plays how I normally see them. I'm still learning to this day. So now I get a little more experience, so this year should be better for me.
BJ, did you ever hear of the University of Buffalo?
You know, I have, but I don't really think football when I think University of Buffalo.
That's cool.
What do you think?
I think long winters and a lot of mountains and probably things that you probably haven't even seen before.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, James, he played college football at Buffalo, but he hails from Niagara Falls, New York, which I think probably a few people in this room have been to Niagara Falls. Anybody? Niagara Falls? There you go. Yeah. All right.
You got some fans.
Yeah. So they can identify. What was Niagara Falls like? Is that like the big tourist trap out in the east?
I don't know. I would say so, probably. I mean, if you haven't seen it, Niagara Falls, it's pretty beautiful. I mean, it's a sight to see, especially going on the Maiden and Miss. I mean, it's a little scary going by the edge, but I mean, it's a nice experience.
You had to work your way back from that hamstring. What do you think is the team for keeping you active on the active roster all that time?
I thank God every day for that, because I just wanted an opportunity, and Green Bay Packers, got me in the 6th round, gave me a shot, and even though they gave me the shot, I came in and got hurt, and they still had faith in me, still stuck with me and had an opportunity. And if it wasn't for the coaches and the staff at Green Bay, then I don't know where I would be.
BJ, what did you think of his 85-yard, 9.4 per carry average yesterday?
I'm a big fan of James. When he first came in, guys or coaches, because everyone talks, so guys are pretty heavy on him. He got injured obviously, and then usually with guys like that, they kind of let him go. But it just shows you the faith and the belief that they had in his ability to keep him around, for a whole training camp pretty much. And then he was obviously put on players unable to perform list. So that's another 6 weeks, I believe. Mm-hmm. So for them to keep him around after that, then he comes back and has the splash that he has and helps propel us to the Super Bowl. I think that's definitely indicative of the type of player he is and the bright future that he has.
Yeah. So you don't play until week 13. You turn out to be one of the stars of the playoffs, and you play and win the Super Bowl. Kind of a surreal type feeling?
It is like a fairy tale, sort of. For real.
85 yards yesterday, and I got to be honest with you, I thought you ran well last year, but you look pretty smooth right now, and you look like you're pretty comfortable running the football right now.
It's getting a lot easier for me. I mean, I practice hard, so I mean, they say practice make perfect, so I go in with a good mindset and short-term memory. Don't really care about what I did, this week or the week before. I try to get better and improve each week, and it's been working out for me.
How is it with you and Ryan Grant?
That's like my older brother, my older brother.
Your older brother.
So I mean, he a good role model to me. He helped me out. Reads that he sees sometimes, and I'm young. He's been around for a while. He has a lot of experience, and I just feed off of him. And I mean, he's a good person, good individual, and he's a great player.
Because you're taking his spot, I mean, it's slowly happening.
I mean, I think it's a 1-2 punch right now. I mean, he got the job, and I respect him. He's a great person. He has great character. He's a great leader for the team, so I respect him.
Yeah, that's the way it's got to be, really, PJ. I mean, it's whether the carries even out or don't even out, you got to cheer for one another. Same thing on defense.
Definitely. Defensive
linemen, you rotate in and out. You got to act like that's your brother there, and you cheer for him because that's the way you win a Super Bowl.
Definitely. I think that that's healthy chemistry for a team. Definitely a team that has our type of talents and our type of expectations. I think that obviously you want to do well as an individual. But my belief is if you're patient and you stick with the game plan from week to week, I think that eventually your time will come. And James, a great example of that is just he waited his time, and when you get your time, you usually try to make the most of it.
What do you take most from your rookie season?
Man, I say basically not knowing where to go sometimes. Sometimes I was running in there kind of confused, but this year I know the playbook. I'm getting better with the playbook, and I feel more comfortable with the plays. I know who I'm going to hit, and I know what holes I'm supposed to, hit, and who I should be looking for. So, I mean, it make it a lot easier.
Well, I got to tell you, you're pretty hard on the other team.
I have to say so.
I mean, there are two guys that tried to tackle him and left. They couldn't play. They had to go to the sidelines. Once they hit him, they were hurt.
I think what just separates James is, especially being a young back, I mean, obviously I'm no running back coach or anything, but you can tell the patience that he has as a running back.
But you stayed at a Holiday Inn Express the other night, so it qualifies you, right?
Good joke. No, but James definitely runs behind his pads, and he's a running back that falls forward. And anytime you get a running back that falls forward, that generally helps your team out.
Yeah, extra yards. Yard after contact. You know, receivers refer to it as YACs, yards after catch. Well, you know, it's yards after contact. Do you guys as running backs, do you chart that at all?
Yeah, we stress that a lot in practice. We even do drills, you know, running through the blaster, keeping the ball high and tight. I mean, that's basically what, you know, running backs do. You got to make a person miss and get extra yards. I mean, all of the great running backs do it, so I try my best to, you know, make one guy miss and do as much as I can.
You played quarterback in high school at Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
Was that a full-time, all the way through your senior year?
I played quarterback even Little League up to college.
Okay.
I played in college.
Even
too,
in college
also.
you started as a quarterback, and then they made the switch?
Yeah, I played running back. My first time playing running back was in college.
Why did they switch?
I was doing some option wildcat stuff, and I was getting 60-yard gains, and at the time we didn't really have too many running backs there, so they tried me out there for a game, and I had a game-winning touchdown against Temple, running the ball, and I never was switched after that.
You played shooting guard on your basketball team in high school. Syracuse stars, future stars, Paul Harris and Johnny Flynn. Flynn now plays for the Houston Rockets. These guys are on your team. Did you get to shoot the ball?
Yeah, I shot the ball.
Could you hang with these guys?
Yeah.
So you could have played in the NBA, huh?
Probably.
Oh, wow. That's a good answer, though. That's a good answer.
And things went so well for you that you got the key to the city in Niagara Falls at the end of the Super Bowl.
How about that?
I did. Special.
Does it, well, I'll ask the question when we come back. Does it open anything up right now? We'll come back. We'll continue in the huddle from Tanner's and Kimberly after this on the Woodward Radio Network.
Now back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman B.J. Raji.
And we are back at Tanner's and Kimberly. Transportation for our guests is provided by L&S Classic Limousine. Personal professional service for all occasions. Call 800-830-5933 for reservations. Back with BJ and James Starks after the Packers' 30-23 win over the Carolina Panthers yesterday. So what does that key to Niagara Falls open up? What does it get you when you go back home?
A lot of water.
You get in a lot of places free, like going bowling or something. You know, you don't have to pay for it, no shoes or nothing there.
Doesn't that already happen to you guys? You guys don't pay for anything, do you?
Nah, we do.
I didn't think so.
Where I'm from, I have to pay.
Is that right?
Yeah, East Coast people aren't too friendly. Especially I'm in the heart of, like, I'm right by New York City and New Jersey. Those guys really don't care who you are. They're trying to get their money.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, they ought to come to Wisconsin for a little hospitality lesson.
That's not a bad idea, actually.
All right, we'll just revisit. If you're back home just joining us, listening on the radio, if you haven't heard it, Nick Collins is out for the season, and you weren't on for the first segment. So I want to just get your thoughts on losing Nick for the season and seeing a player like that go down and not being able to play now for a while.
It's big. He's obviously, you know, a defensive leader. A lot of guys look up to him. But, you know, I'm sure he's going to be around in the stadium and, you know, helping the younger guys because, you know, that's just the kind of person he is. Mostly, I just pray for, you know, speedy recovery for him and, you know, that everything goes well so he can come out and be the player that he's already been.
Okay, you guys averaged 5.9 yards per carry yesterday. As a whole, you averaged 9.4. Only the coaches can call more running plays. But if it's up to Aaron Rodgers, he did a little lobbying after the game. He said, you know, we need to get these guys more opportunities.
Thanks, A-Ron. I mean, but I'm not gonna lie. You know, I respect the coaching staff, and I mean they always put us in great situations to be successful. So I mean it's not how many carries you receive. It's what you do with the carries. When you have them. So I mean I try to make the most out of my opportunities.
Last week, Mike Neal underwent surgery, and he'll be out for what Mike McCarthy called a significant period of time. You're very good friends with Mike Neal.
Right.
How big of a blow is that to the football team, and how tough is it for Mike Neal, who just is dying to get back on the field again?
Well, Mike is definitely a big part of our defense for the simple fact that he's one of our starting right ends in the Okie package, and his versatility allows him to be effective on the rundowns. And he's obviously a good pass rusher where we can use him on nickel. So from that standpoint, especially defensive linemen, we're generally taking 5 into a game. And having someone like Mike is like kind of having 2 players because, like Ryan Pickett and Howard Green, they're generally first, second down players. Third down, they don't really contribute that much. But Mike is a first, second, and third down player. And he actually takes up the role of what those guys do, plus he has the ability to pass rush. So I kind of feel like we're losing like 2 players when Mike's not there.
Mm-hmm. You guys have had to do a lot of pass rushing so far this season. 2 games, I think, 95 pass attempts.
Right.
But then you throw Cam Newton in there that, he does the quarterback draw and runs half the time and you guys are chasing them all over the place. It's pretty exhausting work, isn't it?
Yes, as a pass rusher, when you're trying to pass rush to get to a quarterback, Cam Newton poses a threat of, let's say you beat the guard or the tackle, what have you. Now, the toughest job is trying to get this guy down, where most weeks the toughest job is usually getting past the blocker. And most quarterbacks, the average quarterback in this league is kind of like a sitting duck. They don't have the ability to move their feet or get out of harm's way, but Cam has the ability to sink his hips and stick his foot in the ground and be off to where he wants to go. And that kind of hurts a little bit.
He made a move, you may have seen it on film already, he made a move yesterday where he was heading to the right sideline, and then he cut in and split 2 defenders and got a first down or pretty close to a first down. It was a pretty big play. Not a lot of quarterbacks in the league that would have made that move.
Right, and the defensive call we had, that's like the success rate is up there probably in the 80s or 90s because of the quarterbacks that we generally face. We have myself and Jarius doing the stunt from one side, and we have kind of like Clay kind of rushing to mirroring to kind of catch him. But he runs right out of the pocket and puts his foot in the ground, and both of our guys are eating dirt, and he picks up the first down, like you said.
Yeah. So from one quarterback in high school and college to another in Cam Newton, how good is this guy?
I think he's pretty good. He got great pocket presence. He stayed in the pocket and, was hitting the right receivers. There's a lot to learn, him coming right in, and, we missing mini camp and things like that, OTAs. He came right in, learned the playbook right away, and, new system, new coaching staff. Just, the vibe he get with his players and stuff, they respect him. And, he seems to be a great leader, so, he's going to be pretty good.
There's not an abundance of great quarterbacks in the NFL. And you see this guy doing quarterback draws and taking shots, although I thought he did a pretty good job of escaping the hits and getting down when he had to. But, I know he's 6'5", 245, and he's a pretty solid player, but do you really want to have your quarterback exposed to that many shots?
We were talking about that today. Cam's definitely has the ability to miss, but if they don't change something up, he'll definitely be missing some time because he takes some pretty good hits. Well, we licked him pretty good a couple times.
I saw him on the post-game show or on TV after the game, and Aaron Rodgers was over congratulating him and wishing him well, and Aaron looked like a little kid next to him.
I wouldn't go that far, but he's definitely physically imposing, and I think his ability and his skill set allows him to do some of the things he does, and just we have to see how well he does. It's still early in his career, but obviously most people are impressed.
Once again, the pattern for the defense, you bent, but you didn't break.
Yeah, I would say we didn't execute, but then we executed, When we got in the red zone, our red zone efficiency the last 2 weeks has been outstanding, but I think we still can clean up some things as far as coverage. And, some of those passes Cam threw were great passes, But some of them, I mean, guys are literally wide open, and I think that we have some work to do as far as coverage and his overall defense.
All right, we saw Donald Driver. He got the catch that he needed, the yard that he needed. He caught a 10-yard pass late in the third quarter. He surpassed James Lofton, 9,656 yards. So he, in effect, is the record holder, receiving record holder for most of the major records now in Green Bay. Have that guy in your locker room, that's got to be pretty cool, huh?
It goes to show that I know Drive pretty well, and he's definitely a hard worker. He has a skill set, but he's the type of guy that he just has the ability to make guys miss one-on-one in space, and I think that generally when you do that for a consistent amount of time, then you have the production that he has.
Who did you guys grow up idolizing in the NFL?
Me.
Yeah, anybody?
I was a Bruce Smith fan, just like for his size and the way he moved, and the kind of like domination that he displayed every Sunday. I was real impressed.
Going back to those Buffalo days, huh?
Yes, sir.
I like a couple guys. I like Robert Smith. I like the Dirty Bird and Gale Sayers.
Yeah, Gale Sayers, tough to beat that guy, huh? Yeah, that's a pretty good idol. Fox analyst answered the question yesterday on the pregame show, Brady or Rodgers. All right, Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. And it was a split. Terry Bradshaw, Michael Strahan both went with Brady. Jimmy Johnson and Howie Long both went with Aaron Rodgers. Pretty tough either way. You're pretty good company on either side.
Tomato, right.
Yeah, exactly. All right, you trailed by 13. All of last year, you never trailed by more than a touchdown. So a 13-point deficit, you come back and win. You're pretty good company so far, huh?
Yeah, I think, that's not ideal for us to be down by 13, like you said, but, it's the NFL. You're coming off, you're defending world champs. Games are not going to be easy, and you'll kind of take the way you can get them.
Yeah. How about the day Charles Woodson had yesterday?
Wood I come to expect that from him. Some of those throws were ill-advised, and Charles is going to make you pay for those.
Yeah, absolutely. He stayed on the outside, 2 picks, 1 fumble recovery to help the Packers to the win. Our email segment of the week, sponsored by Granite Peak Ski Area. Each week you can win a ski weekend for 2, and your email is selected as the email question of the week. Back with more in the Huddle from Tanner's in Kimberly after this on the Woodward Radio Network.
Now back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman B.J. Raji.
Tanner's in Kimberly. We'd like to welcome Packers fans listening on our statewide radio network. Ripon at WRPN. They're listening in Tomahawk tonight on WJJQ, in Adams Friendship on WDKM, and in Madison on WTSO. It's time now for our Granite Peak Ski email ski package. The Granite Peak season pass sale is on now through September 30th. If you like to ski or ride 6 times or more, the season pass is the best value. So go to skigranitepeak.com, purchase your season pass today, and get ready to enjoy the upcoming ski season. Along with B.J. Raji, James Starks, we now head out to Justin Hull for our email segment.
Yeah, inthehuddleshow.com. The emails keep coming in. The questions keep getting better each week. So thanks for submitting, and we'll get to our questions for our players. First questions for both of you. Kind of fits into what you're talking about in the last segment. Comes from Bob in Sturgeon Bay. Wants to know, have you had a lot of quote-unquote old friends reach out since you made it to the NFL? People coming out of the woodwork and...
I'll let James start with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people come up to you. You really don't be knowing. Like, they say they've been your best friend since first grade. So.
Myself, I definitely have that, especially coming from the New York, New Jersey area. I met a lot of people, have some relationships, but there's definitely some people that I haven't seen since I was a kid coming out saying that they knew me when I was this tall or this big, or they knew my mom when she was doing this, and I'm like, that was a long time ago. Things have changed, and if I've really seen you in 10, 15 years, I really can't do much for you.
No. Do any of them ask you for money or anything? You ever have people like that? I know you hear stories about that.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised at the nerve that people have nowadays. Like, no shame, come up to you and ask you for a certain amount of money. They'll tell you the exact amount they need. I'm just like, you're a grown individual. You need to be making your own way.
Try to situate it here. Steve in New London asked the next question. Speaking about money, what is the first thing that you bought with your first NFL paycheck?
Myself, I bought a place up in the Green Bay area because I figured I'd be here for a while. So that was that was one of the first purchases I made. And I didn't really purchase my own vehicle until this past off season. So I've been doing a pretty good job managing some things.
So what are you driving?
Right now, I'm driving the S63 Mercedes.
James, you're a 6th round pick. What are you driving?
Yeah, it ain't no Mercedes. I got a Ford 250 King Ranch. So.
What's the first thing you bought with your check?
It wasn't all like Raji said, but I just got me some Dre Beats.
Headphones.
Yeah, headphones. I ain't buying no houses.
A little different than a house, yeah. But we'll get to our next question from Gene in Green Bay. What is it like being on a team with a guy like Charles Woodson?
Just me being a defensive guy and me loving college football. I've been watching Wood since he was in the Amazing Blue up there in Ann Arbor. And just watching his playmaking ability, you can tell by the way he plays, which has confidence. And me knowing being a pro football player, that confidence starts from preparation. The more confident you are, 9 times out of 10, you probably prepared well and you feel pretty good about the matchups that you're going against. So Wood's an excellent as far as preparing. He's like a coach from that standpoint, and he's obviously a playmaker and someone we look to in crunch time.
Was there a player that either of you guys, when you found out you were drafted by Green Bay, you were excited to meet? I mean, the first name that popped out on that roster when you found out where you were going?
Me, I was Charles Woodson. Like I said, just knowing, because coming from college, Boston College, I think that defensively we had pretty good up front. We had pretty good linebackers, but I think we struggled from a coverage standpoint. And knowing that I was coming to a team with pretty good corners, I was pretty excited about that.
How about you, James?
I was excited to meet everybody. I was just happy. I ain't gonna lie.
PJ, let me ask you, does James ever stop smiling? Because since the moment this guy's walked in the door, he's been smiling the entire time.
I've yet to see him not smile, so next time he doesn't smile, I'll let you know.
You got time for one more, Bill?
Yeah, we do.
All right. This question actually comes from in-house. What do you guys do in your off time?
Well, me, I just hang around. I try to catch up with people, some family members. If it's either Skype or talking on the phone, and you'd be surprised. Some conversations before you know it, you're on the phone for an hour and a half, and that kind of gets like that with me sometimes. Trying to catch up with people that I haven't seen in a while.
How about you, James?
Basically the same thing. I usually call my mother or my father, my brothers, sisters, grandmother. Try to keep in touch with my family as much as possible, because at home, that's all I'm really around is my family, doing barbecues, playing spades and stuff like that. So, I'll be missing my family while I'm up here, but, this is like home to me now. So.
Now, I know you're a Madden guy, too, from your Twitter, James. Yeah. You play Madden, Raji?
A little bit. I'm kind of upset with the gameplay this year, so I've definitely backed off a little bit.
Like that?
It's all right.
What are you upset about?
Just how they every year they try to add a new feature, and when they're doing that, I think they're really taking away from the game, and I think that I'm pretty dissatisfied with that.
You bad at Madden.
Do you know your Madden rating? If I were to ask you what your Madden rating is, do you know what your rating is?
Mine?
Yeah.
Of course I do. That's the first thing I look for.
Obviously wasn't high enough, so he's upset. All right. Thanks for all your email questions. We'll come back and pick a winner. We'll hand out that ski package for 2 for 2 days at Granite Peak Ski Area in the Wausau area. Back to announce our winner. We'll take a look at the Packers and the Bears. In the Huddle continues after this on the Woodward Radio Network.
Now back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman B.J. Raji.
And we're back at Tanner's in Kimberly. Good to have you along here this evening. Our final segment with B.J. Raji and James Starks. Time to quickly find out our winning question in our Granite Peak email segment. Let's go back out to Justin.
Yeah, Jean in Green Bay is going to be our winner this week. Had the question about Charles Woodson, so she'll pick up the prize pack. Remember, inthehuddleshow.com, that is the website. We're on Twitter, too, at InTheHuddleShow, all one word. And find out who the guest is each and every week and all things in the Huddle on Twitter.
All right, early season bonus for the fans. A 1-1 Chicago Bears team at Soldier Field on Sunday with a chance really to create a little daylight between you and the Bears right now.
It's definitely anytime the Packers and the Bears meet up, obviously. It's bigger implications than just the win. It's a division game, so it's definitely important from that standpoint. We have our eyes set on the division title this year, and obviously to do that, you have to go through the Bears.
Tell us what happened in that NFC Championship game again. I think there was a pretty big play by number 90.
I proceeded to catch the ball and run it back and do a dance that a lot of people like.
I think a lot of people love. I think that's an understatement. What did you think of the Raji?
I like it.
Yeah.
I liked it.
It's pretty good. Hey, last meeting in Soldier Field, 24-14. That's what we're talking about, the NFC Championship game. Of course, they had won the division, so you had to go through their place to get to the Super Bowl, and you did that. In fact, you had to, you played them twice down the stretch, and you beat them twice down the stretch, which is, kind of sent them packing a little bit, James.
Yeah. I mean, it's a hard environment to play in, but I mean, our fans are special. That's why we play here at Lambeau. I mean, we enjoy our fans and we enjoy this organization, period. So we try to do the best of our ability to go out there and win each and every week.
Now, do you guys keep track of those divisional games? Do you record them? Like the Bears are playing the same time you guys were yesterday. Did you see any of it at all, or?
Like when you're at that stadium, I don't know, for some reason they yell out the score. So I mean, I just happen to hear it. But anytime our division, one of our division teams is playing out, obviously I want them to lose. So that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, and they did. They lost big yesterday. Saints got them pretty good, 30-13. Surprising?
I was a little surprised because the Bears, specifically on how much points they put up on the Bears, because, I mean, we have one of the most explosive offenses in the league, and the Bears do a good job with us as far as, just swarming to the football. Those guys are always going after the football to knock it out. So I was kind of surprised how New Orleans kind of blew it open.
All right, as a running back, you're looking at the Chicago defense. You automatically see Urlacher over there? Is that the guy that you focus in on, or does it not work that way?
I usually get my mind right, so, I mean, whoever it is, I'm ready for it. That's how I look at it. Being honest.
That's a good answer, a good mindset to have.
So the number or the face doesn't, it's just kind of, you're so geared into your assignment that the player doesn't matter on the other side.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Okay.
On myself? We obviously, every week we're trying to stop the run, so I'm looking at Forte, trying to control him a little bit. And hopefully we do a good job with pressure. So, and Cutler's a great quarterback, but he obviously is turnover prone. So our first obligation, myself, is to kind of hold Forte under control, and that way we can get after Cutler on third down.
Yeah, Cutler, he was sacked 6 times yesterday, completed less than 50% of his passes, and they really struggled offensively. And of course, the MO on him is to do exactly what you just said. You bother him. You disrupt the timing, the flow of their offense, and then eventually, on the way to doing all those other things, then you get him, and you force him into, and he'll, at least up to this point,
right,
he will turn the ball over. He will take gambles that generally lead to turnovers.
Right. Like you said, he definitely has a strong arm, but some of his decision-making in the past hasn't been, I'm sure, what his team had wanted. But I have a feeling that we'll probably see a different color this week, especially him taking so much heat for the way he went out in the NFC Championship game. And I think he'll be looking to redeem himself from that.
Now, have you guys started looking at Bears film already today?
We actually, today, Mondays, generally we kind of finish up on the film that we, obviously the game we just played on. We'll have a team meeting with Coach, and then we'll move on. But myself, I'll get like copies of the tape from like Bob, the film guy, or Turgo drops something in my office. So I'll probably watch a game or two just tonight just to get a jump start on the week.
Okay, how do you prepare?
Yeah, I'm up early with, Coach Jerry and working on blitzes and things like that, things I might see. So, I go into the game, not having to think, what are they going to bring this time? So it's sort of like second nature. I already seen it so many times, so when it happens, I'm used to, what the linebackers doing and what the free safeties are doing and things like that, it's basically second nature.
Yeah. Jerry Fontenot, your running backs coach, former Chicago Bear.
Yes.
I bet that gets brought up once or twice, huh?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Does he want to beat those guys more, or does it, is it just another game for him?
Probably just another game. I mean, I don't know. I think it might mean a little bit to him, since he left there. And I mean, he probably wanted to get a victory against his old team. So.
Okay, neither defense, BJ, coming off a great performance, Chicago or Green Bay.
Right.
What do you think is in store for this one? Is it time to buckle it down and slam the door?
I would hope for our offense to go out there and just do what they generally do every week, but it's just history has told me that it's going to be a tighter game. So it'll be one of those games that kind of comes down to a couple plays that'll probably win it.
All right, James Starks, thank you very much for coming on the program tonight, and good luck to you.
Thank you. Appreciate
James
it.
Starks, BJ, go get him.
All right, thank
you. See you next week.
See you next week.
All right, that's BJ Raji and James Stark, Packers and Bears, Sunday at 3:15. Thanks to James and BJ. We'll do it again next Monday night. We'll be back live here at Tanner's in Kimberly in the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network.